All right, today's class is about understanding of depository receipts. As I told you already as well, that depository receipts is another instrument which is used to raise equity in the foreign currency, right? If it's raising of, if it's collecting or getting equity in domestic currency, then we always talk about equity, ordinary stocks, common stock. But when it comes raising of equity in the denomination of another country, in a foreign currency, more specifically, that cannot be done with the ordinary shares or equity shares. For that, there is another type of an instrument which is known as depository receipts. So today we shall learn what are depository receipts. Before we start, let me pose you a question. Have you ever heard about dual listing or cross listing? I hope you understand what is meant by listing. Listing means the admission of the stocks of a joint stock company on a recognized exchange for the purpose of trading. That is what is listing. So when we say dual listing, it means listing of a joint stock company, listing of the equity of a joint stock company on more than one stock exchange, right? So that is what is dual listing. Okay, I hope you might not be familiar about it earlier, so that's why I posed you a question and gave you the answer as well, right? So in simple words, it means dual listing means listing of a security on two or more different exchanges. Now, in order to understand what dual listing means, let's assume there's a company ABC, which is an Indian company, and this company lists its shares on the Bombay Stock Exchange, right? Now, company ABC could issue more shares and list them on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, New York Stock Exchange is a stock exchange which doesn't, which is not located in India. Rather, this is an exchange which is located overseas, abroad, in USA, right? Now, if the company issues additional equity and then wants to list that equity in an overseas stock exchange like New York Stock Exchange, then people in both the US and India can buy and sell shares of this company, this ABC company. But question arises, how can a company, that is incorporated in India, that's incorporated and run in India, issue and list shares in US? Everybody would be interested to know that. As far as listing of shares by a company in its domestic country is concerned, things can be to some extent, very simple and easily understandable, right? It involves actually, complying to the regulations of another country. When a company wants its shares to be listed there in the stock exchange, which is, operating in that country, right? Now, the answer to this question, how can a company that is incorporated and run in a country like India issue and list shares in US, right? The answer to that question is that it can do so by issuing DRs or depository receipts. Okay, so its ordinary equity can be listed only in its domestic stock exchange, like Bombay Stock Exchange or National Stock Exchange or any other stock exchange for that matter. But if it wants that its equity should be listed on an overseas stock exchange like New York Stock Exchange, like Nasdaq, like Singapore Stock Exchange or London Stock Exchange or Frankfurt Stock Exchange, right? Then it cannot do so by issuing ordinary equity. In order to have that facility, it has to be willing to issue depository receipts, right? So to understand how a company can issue depository receipts and then have dual listing, cross listing, listing in another exchange apart from having listing in its domestic country stock exchange, we need to understand the concept of dr hota kya hai, right? On your screen you can see names of some of the Indian companies like Infosys, Dr. Reddy's, Tata Motors, Videocon, Vedanta, Make My Trip, Wipro. Why these companies are shown on your screen? There is a purpose for that, right? uh, these are the companies that have actually that have been successful in getting the dual listing or cross listing. That means these are the companies who have already issued DRs and have been able to tap foreign markets for raising equity in the foreign currency, in the foreign denomination, right? So in other words, these are the companies that have issued depository receipts which are listed in stock exchanges of USA. So in the background, you can see the interior of a stock exchange, prominent stock exchange in USA, which is known as NYSE or New York Stock Exchange, right? So today's stock exchanges are no more like markets that used to be in olden days. Today's stock exchanges are no more like those places where brokers assemble and then they start trading. Today's markets are just comprised of, today's markets just comprise of electronic screens and just a few people, handful of people who run actually these markets inside them, right? Now in the next slide, let's try to understand what is a DR or a depository receipt. DR or depository receipt क्या होता है? If you look at this definition, you'll see a lot of things, and then this is what will build your understanding on the concept of depository receipt or DR. DRs are financial instruments. From this definition, what do we understand? DRs are financial instruments that are used by corporations to tap foreign equity. Okay, so if corporations can use DRs to raise foreign equity, then they obviously would serve purpose of investors as well. Investors on the other side can invest in DRs, which would represent their investment in a foreign company's equity. Now, suppose if there is an investor who lives in India and he wants to invest in a foreign company's equity, let that company be Apple. Then such an investor who is in India can do that buying the DRs issued by that company in India, right? Similarly, if there is a company in India like Tata Motors, and that company, if that company wants to raise equity in foreign denominations, that company can also do that by issuing DRs to the investors who are actually living abroad, who live in abroad in different foreign countries, right? So investors on the other side can invest in DR, which would represent their investment in a foreign country's equity. Now you may be curious to know how can a company in India raise foreign equity. To learn this, you must keep it in mind that an Indian company cannot directly issue equity shares on the international stock exchange. Okay, so to overcome this problem, companies that want to raise foreign equity give shares to an overseas bank located in India. The overseas or foreign bank, in return for those shares which are given to it by a local company, provide receipts to the local company. And these receipts can then be used by the local, these receipts can be then sold by the local company to the investors abroad, enabling them to raise equity in foreign currency, right? So this is all about depository receipts and how they help companies as well as investors, both of them, to raise money and invest money, right? Let's move on. In this slide, we will try to understand how this is the schematic diagram which will try to understand, which will try to help you understand how all this process works. The process of issuing or raising finance from the overseas markets by issuance of depository receipts, right? Now if you look at the left side, it starts from the left side. There is a icon which shows you local market, right? So what happens essentially, either it's a company that hands over a certain number of shares to the local custodian bank, or it's a broker who buys at the instructions of a investor a few shares of a company that is operating in a certain country, and then hands over those shares to the local custodian bank. Now, in short, you have to keep in mind that the process of issuing DR starts with depositing of a certain number of equity shares with a depository bank, with a local foreign bank that acts as a custodian, right? Now, suppose if you want to buy depository receipts, you will have to approach a broker, and broker on your instructions, if you tell him, right, if suppose if an investor who is in USA, he wants to buy a certain, he wants to invest his money in a company that is in India, then such an investor has to approach his local broker, right? Who on his instructions will first of all buy certain, who will buy certain shares uh, uh, from the Indian market, right? And then those shares will be kept in a depository bank that will act as a custodian. Then depository banker will intimate its foreign correspondent, and foreign correspondent, upon receiving the intimation from the from its other correspondent, will issue DRs in the overseas market, right? And then those DRs will be provided to the investors. Just look at this entire process in a very simple manner, right? Suppose if DRs are to be issued by an issuing company, that company will simply issue the equity shares and hand over those equity shares to a local foreign banker who will be ready to act as the custodian in this entire process. Custodian means a person who holds a certain amount of assets in the form of trust, right? So once those shares are given by the company to the local custodian then intimates its foreign correspondent. Let us say his branch in America, his branch in some country in the Europe. And then once that branch receives the intimation that certain number of equity shares are held by its correspondent in another country, that branch in the foreign country creates the DRs and then offers them to the investors in the market. Once those DRs are subscribed by the investors, the funds are raised and they pass on into the hands of the foreign bank. And then foreign bank routes those banks to the company in India, let's say, through its correspondent there. And this is how actually the process of DR is completed for raising of foreign currency funds. I hope it is clear to you. Suppose there is a company in India and that company wants to raise foreign equity. First of all, what it has to do, it has to issue a certain number of equity shares in its country, let us say in India, and then hand over them to a foreign banker which is ready to act as a custodian. Then the foreign banker will intimate its foreign correspondent in another country that it has received the shares, and in lieu of those shares, you now issue the depository receipts. You now create the depository receipts and offer them to your local investors in the market. Raise the funds, pass on those funds back to me, and then these funds will be given to the company in whose name actually those DRs have been issued in the overseas market. So this is, briefly how the process of issuing DR actually follows, in the two markets. One is the market wherein a certain company is existing or is located. Another is the market where these DRs are created and then they are sold or offered to the shareholders. Okay, two markets are involved just because of the reason that the company actually doesn't want to raise capital in the form of domestic currency. Rather, it's interested in raising the capital in the form of a foreign currency. Okay, so that's it. Now let's move on. Let's familiarize ourselves with some of the important nomenclature about depository receipts. कुछ जो चीजें जिनको हमें पता होना चाहिए when we talk about or when we try to understand the depository receipts. Now, we need to make a distinction between what it means for Indian company and a foreign company. I'm talking about depository receipts. We need to make a clear distinction. It should be clear to us what does a depository receipt mean, to an Indian company and a foreign company. When both can, use them, both can issue them. What does it mean? That means an Indian company can issue depository receipts to raise foreign denominated capital somewhere in some country which is overseas. In the same manner, a company which is all located in overseas can issue DRs in Indian market to raise equity in the form of Indian currency, right? So it can work both ways, right? So DRs can be used both ways, both by the Indian companies as well as foreign companies to raise the capital in each other's market, right? Now, when we say GDR, a GDR can be issued by an Indian company. On the contrary, when we say IDR can be issued by a foreign company, right? It's just the difference between, from the point of view whether a company is local Indian company or whether a company is a foreign company. Both might be eyeing to each other's market for raising, equity in the form of in a different denomination, right? So we need to make a distinction between what it means for Indian company and a foreign company. And Indian company looking for raising overseas equity can do so by issuing GDR or global depository receipts in overseas stock market, for example, London stock market. However, a company that is not incorporated or run in India, it could be a company like, Microsoft. It could be a company like, Apple. It could be any other company, right? So that company that company which is not incorporated or run in India can raise equity in India in Indian denomination, in the denomination of Indian currency, that's rupees. by issuing not GDRs but IDRs, right? So that those DRs will be known as Indian depository receipts, right? So Indian depository receipts will be listed in a local stock exchange here. That stock exchange could be any stock exchange like Bombay Stock Exchange or National Stock Exchange. Now, just you know, listen carefully. If an Indian company wants to raise foreign currency equity, whether that foreign currency is a US dollar or a euro or a Dutch mark, right? So that Indian company can do it, but it has to issue DRs, which will be known as GDRs, global depository receipts, right? So these global depository receipts will be then listed in any stock exchange which is overseas, which operates overseas. But on the contrary, if there is a company which is not Indian, and if that company wants to raise equity in the denomination of Indian rupees, that company can do so by entering Indian market and issuing IDRs there, which will be known as Indian depository receipts. And then those depository receipts will not be listed in overseas markets, overseas stock exchanges like London Stock Exchange, Luxembourg Stock Exchange, or Frankfurt, stock exchange. But such, depository receipts, which will be known as Indian depository receipts, will have listing on the stock markets, the stock exchanges that exist and operate in the country of India, right? So I hope you are able to understand this distinction between the depository receipts in terms of the issuer. If issuer is foreigner, then it will be IDR. If issuer is local Indian company, then it will be GDR, right? Now, one more distinction we need to understand. Okay. Similarly, we can have ADRs and GDRs, right? Now, what's ADR? ADR stands for American Depository Receipt. That can be used by a company to issue or sell depository receipts in American market. For example, New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ. Okay, so Americans have always been, they have always been trying to create a distinction. So in this particular case, also they have created a distinction. They have named their DRs, in an exclusive manner, right? Their DRs are called American Depository Receipts. So any company or any countries, any company that operates in any country, if it wishes to enter US market for raising US dollar equity, that company can do so by issuing American depository receipts, right? So the depository receipts that will be issued in America, that will be listed in the stock exchange in America, they will be known as American depository receipts. While as the other depository receipts that will be listed elsewhere, that will be raised in other countries. Let's say London, let's say France, let's say Germany, let's say Mexico, right? So those depository receipts will not be known as American depository receipts. Rather, they are given a common name as global depository receipts, right? Am I clear? So we have ADRs. ADR stands for American Depository Receipts that can be used by a company to issue or sell depository receipts in American market, for example, New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ, and thus such DRs, which are known as ADRs, will help the company to raise US dollar denominated equity. Against these GDRs, in contrast, can be issued in markets other than US, like Frankfurt Stock Exchange, Singapore Stock Exchange. And these instruments or these DRs will help the issuing company to raise equity in other currencies, maybe the currencies of those countries. Like, when we talk about German, they have Dutch mark. When we talk about UK, they have pound sterling. Similarly, France has a separate currency, right? So depending upon what kind of currency a company wants to raise into its equity, that is what will decide what kind of DRs they will be interested in issuing in the overseas market, right? Now, this slide will help you to, bring out the distinction between ADRs and GDRs, right? So what is the basic difference between ADRs and GDRs? The answer is that they differ in two ways. दो तरीकों में इनमें फर्क है. एक इनमें फर्क है बेसिक फंडामेंटल डिफरेंस. एक इनमें डिफरेंस है डिनोमिनेशन में. दूसरा इनमें डिफरेंस है प्लेस ऑफ इशू एंड लिस्टिंग, राइट? Okay. One, in terms of denomination, for instance, ADR is in US dollar and GDR can be in other currencies, right? As I told you already. The second difference is that in case of ADR, listing of DRs can only be on American stock exchange, like New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, or any other stock exchange that is established in USA, right? But while But in case of GDRs, it can be elsewhere, not in America, right? It can be any it can be on any stock exchange, like stock exchange that exist in European markets or Asian markets, right? So the fundamental difference between ADRs and GDRs is that they differ in terms of the currency of denomination, right? The currency in which they are denominated, right? And the second place is that the second difference is that they differ in terms of the place of issue and the exchanges wherein they might be later on listed, right? Now let us understand the process of issuing depository receipts from the perspective of an investor. इन्वेस्टर जब एक इन्वेस्टर इन्वेस्ट करता है डीआरस में, तो उसके अंदर क्या प्रोसेस फॉलो की जाती है, कैसे ये होता है, हाउ डज इट हैपन, लेट्स ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट. ओके, let's assume, for this sake, let's assume there is an investor in India that wants to invest in US company equity, right? The question is, how will he do that? He will have to, for how will he do that? Okay, in order to invest in the DRs of a US company, he will have to contact a local broker and place an order for purchase of certain number of DRs of that US company, right? What will local broker do? Local broker will contact the depository bank who can issue that DR. So such a depository bank will have to have a branch in USA as well, right? So local broker can only facilitate the issuance of DRs, right? But it cannot create DRs. DRs will be created by a banker, right? That banker has to be a foreign banker who will be obviously having a branch in USA as well. Let's repeat the process again. So there is a person in India who wants to invest his money in a company's DR. For that purpose, he will have to approach a local broker and place an order for a certain number of DRs of that particular company. Local broker will contact the depository bank, which will be a foreign bank, who can issue that DR in consultation with its foreign correspondent, right? But before issuing any DR issue करने से पहले, local depository bank will intimate its foreign correspondent in US and get a certain number of shares of the given US company purchased there. अब जो लोकल डिपॉजिटरी बैंक है वो यहाँ पर डीआर इशू करेगा और ब्रोकर को देगा, और ब्रोकर उन डीआर को हैंड ओवर करेगा इन्वेस्टर को. लेकिन ये लोकल डिपॉजिटरी बैंक जो है, लोकल फॉरेन बैंक है, डीआर को इशू नहीं कर सकता है जब तक ये अपने कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंट को उस कंट्री में, यूएसए में, इंटीमेट करेगा और उसको कहेगा कि सर्टेन नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स, इक्विटी शेयर्स अपने मार्केट में आप खरीदो और फिर उनको अपने पास रखो. Until that time, as long as these DRs remain in the custody, as long as these DRs are held by the investor in India, right? So these DRs are actually not just simply the notes. They represent a certain number of equity shares of a company which is, established and run in an abroad country. Am I clear? Is it clear to you? I will repeat it once again. So let's assume there is an investor in India that wants to invest in a US company's equity, right? How will he do that? He will have to contact a local broker and place an order for purchase of certain number of DRs of that US company. Local broker will contact the depository bank who can issue that DR, right? But before issuing any DR, local depository bank, which is a foreign bank, which could be like Bank of America or Standard Chartered Bank, any bank, but has to be a foreign bank which offers that service, right? But before issuing any DR, that local foreign banker, which is called depository bank, will intimate its foreign correspondent, will intimate its branch in the US, and get a certain number of that certain number of the equity shares of that US company, purchased there and held by its foreign correspondent, right? Am I clear? So it will intimate its correspondent in the US and get a certain number of shares of given US company purchased there and subsequently held in custody by the foreign corresponding banker. For example, if one DR of US company in India is worth 7,500 rupees, right? अगर इस US कंपनी का एक DR हिंदुस्तान के अंदर जो है 7500 रुपए का है, 7500 रुपए का है, then the foreign correspondent banker will have to purchase 100 shares of US company. क्यों? क्योंकि जब हम एक्सचेंज रेट देखते हैं तो वो $1 की एक्सचेंज रेट 75 रुपीज है. Are you getting me? Or in other words, we can say one DR in India represents 100 equity shares of the company which is, established in the US, right? So this is how. So if we assume exchange rate of $1 which is equivalent to 75. Am I clear? So this is how the DRs will be issued. So this is what kind of steps will be followed from an investor's perspective, or when an investor wants to invest his money in DRs. And this is how it's going to happen. Am I clear? So the entire process has been put in front of you, right? Now let's move on and try to understand the process of issuance of DRs from the perspective of a company. Now, why would a company issue DRs? Because they might not be interested in investing. They might be interested in raising money through DRs, right? Now let's try to understand how the process takes place, how the process happens when the DRs are issued by a company, right? Okay. This diagram explains the process of issuing DRs by a company. Now let's assume again we have to follow an illustration or an example. Let's assume that there is a company in India that wants to raise US dollar equity. In order to do so, the company in India will have to approach a local merchant banker, right? Merchant banker are those people or those banks that facilitate or that help the joint stock companies in the markets to raise capital, right? So any time a joint stock company wants to raise capital, it is actually not expert in handling many affairs related to raising capital. So in order to facilitate it raising capital, it will have to approach or consult or undertake the services of a merchant banker, right? So any company that's interested in issuance of DRs and thereby raising of capital in the foreign currency will have to seek the services of a merchant banker. So a company in India which is interested in raising US dollar equity will have to approach a merchant banker in India who will lay out the process on behalf of this company, facilitating it to raise, facilitating it to issue DRs and raise equity capital in the foreign currency, right? Am I clear? Now, what will this merchant banker do? Okay. In order to do so, the company in India will have to approach a local merchant banker who, on behalf of the Indian company, will then hand over a certain number of equity shares issued by the Indian company to a local foreign bank that agrees to act as a custodian. Now, if you want to understand process of issuing the DRs from the perspective of a company, the process is the mirror image of the earlier process which we discussed. That was about from the perspective of an investor. So the mirror image of that process is the process which will be engaged or used by a company for issuance of DRs in the market, right? So let's try to understand it, okay? So what will happen? The broker, merchant banker, not the broker in case of investor. So here it's merchant banker. So merchant banker on behalf of the issuing company will hand over a certain number of equity shares to the local custodian bank, okay? Once those equity shares are received by the local custodian bank, local custodian bank, it's again going to be a foreign bank, will intimate its overseas correspondent, right, to issue DRs in the US market, right? Once those DRs are issued by the foreign correspondent, okay, and sold to the investors there in US, the funds raised so will be passed on back through this channel, to the listed company, right? So this is how actually the process will take up, and then the DRs will facilitate the list. The DRs will facilitate a company that is working, that's operating in India to raise foreign currency equity, right? I repeat it once again. The local custodian will then intimate its foreign correspondent to issue certain number of DRs and offer them to investors for a price in the US market. The proceeds obtained by selling DRs in the overseas market will then be passed to the Indian company as a consideration for DRs issued by it, right? Again, as an example, if the Indian company wants to raise 1 lakh US dollar equity, and if each dollar is assumed to be worth 75 Indian rupees, right? Then Indian company will have to issue equity shares worth 75 lakhs of Indian rupees and hand over them to the custodian bank so that it is able to raise equity worth 1 lakh of US dollars, right? So this was the schematic way of understanding the process of issuance of DRs, both from the perspective of an investor as well as the issuing company. Okay, let's move on. Now let's take a look at different features of DR. DR में क्या जो है characteristics होती हैं, DR के अंदर खूबियां क्या क्या हैं. Let's take a look on them, right? Now, if you look at this slide, at the top of it, you can see DRs can be issued to investors in many countries. Now, DRs facilitate issuing company to raise funds from many countries across the world, right? Similarly, the second feature is that a DR derives its value from the value of its underlying shares and the exchange rate. Now, the DR, which is listed on an overseas exchange, its value will depend on two things. One is the value of its underlying shares that might be traded in some other exchange, in the exchange of that particular country wherein the company which has issued DRs is actually located, and then also the exchange rate. So two things will decide or influence the price or value of DR which is traded in an overseas market. One is the value of its underlying shares, and second is the exchange rate, right? Then the third feature is that DR holders are entitled to all corporate benefits except voting rights. When somebody invests money in equity, he, apart from other privileges, also gets a voting right. He has a voting right to vote in various important matters concerning various important matters about the company. But that's not the case with DR. Although DR is also like equity, foreign denominated equity, but DRs, DR holders enjoy no voting rights, right? Who enjoys the voting rights then? Because in every DR process, equity shares are issued. The question is that they remain in the custody of a banker, right? Not to the They don't go to the overseas investor. Overseas investor always has a depository receipts, right? Okay, so the voting rights in case of such equity is always enjoyed by the depository bank, right? Now, DR eliminates equity funding risk. There is no equity funding risk in case of DR. Why? Because issuing company is not supposed to pay dividends in the form of foreign currency, right? DRs help a company to build reputation internationally. Since the company has the facility of getting its equity listed on an overseas stock exchange, that's what will help it to become reputed on the international level as well, right? Then there is a fungibility option. Fungibility option feature, right? ये fungibility option feature क्या होता है? There can be either one way or two way fungibility. Now, what does this fungibility mean? For example, one-way fungibility enables investors to convert their DR holdings into domestic shares of the DR issuing company. मतलब ये कि वो अपने, अगर कोई किसी फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर के पास डीआर है, तो उन डीआरस को वो उस कंपनी के डोमेस्टिक शेयर्स में ट्रांसलेट कर सकता है, ट्रांसफॉर्म कर सकता है, फिर उनको वहां उन मार्केट में बेच के जो है प्रोसीड्स ले सकता है। ये एक ऑप्शन है उसके पास। दूसरा ऑप्शन ये है कि डीआर को वो कन्वर्ट करने के बजाय अपने ही मार्केट के अंदर बेच डाले किसी दूसरे इन्वेस्टर को, राइट? सो देयर आर टू ऑप्शंस। वन इज दैट investor can sell his DR in his local market to any subsequent investor. Second is that he can seek the transformation or convertibility of his DR into the equity shares that might be held by a banker in a foreign country and get them sold there. And then after selling them there, have the proceeds, in his favor. Okay. But the question is that if he does so, he will entail for himself the foreign exchange risk, because it will involve exchange of funds from one currency to another currency, right? So that is what is fungibility option. We will talk about fungibility more in the coming slides. Let's move on, right? Now, this is the list which shows you the various intermediaries that are involved in the process of GDR, in the issue of GDR, right? These are the different market intermediaries with whom a DR issuing company has to enter into agreements so as to ensure successful issue of DRs, so as to ensure that successful issue of DRs is made possible, right? Who are these intermediaries? If you look at this slide more minutely, you will understand the role of each and every market intermediary. Now, as I mentioned, I will read the names of these intermediaries that are involved in a GDR issue. Now, on the top of it is always going to be the company that issues the GDRs. Then there is a lead manager or merchant banker, as I told you already. Merchant banker arranges or manages the whole show. Then there is a depository. This depository will act as a custodian for the shares issued by the DR issuing company, right? Then there is listing agent who will facilitate listing of the DRs by a company in a foreign market. Then we have custodian. We have two intermediaries. One is a depository in a foreign country, other is a custodian in the local market. Then there is Indian Legal Counsel who takes care of various legal matters. Then we have a UK Legal Counsel or US Legal Counsel, depending upon which market, from which market DRs are issued, from which market, foreign currency equity is raised. If it's USA, then USA Counsel. If it's UK, then UK Counsel. So you must keep in mind there has to be two different, legal experts. One are the local legal experts, other is the foreign legal experts, right? Then there is an escrow agent, and then there are foreign investors. So these are the different parties who come together, and then after they come together, there is then the process of issuing of GDRs will pick up, and it will facilitate both issuing company to raise foreign currency equity and the investors as outlets of investment in which they can invest, in which they can, through which they will be able to invest in a foreign denominated equity, right? Moving on, let's talk about DR specification. Okay, now let's try understand specification of DR. DR में खुसूसियतें क्या होती हैं, खास खास बातें क्या है DR के अंदर. Okay, number one is that these instruments DRs facilitate a company to get equity in foreign currency, that you know already, and thereby evade any foreign exchange risk. ये है कि एक कंपनी जो है किसी बैंक से बोरो करेगी फॉरेन करेंसी फंड्स, लेकिन वो बैंक उसको फॉरेन करेंसी में नहीं देगा, लोकल करेंसी में देगा. फिर लोकल करेंसी से वो फॉरेन करेंसी को परचेज कर सकती है वो कंपनी, एंड देन इट कैन यूज दैट फॉरेन करेंसी. तो वैसा करने में उस कंपनी, दैट कंपनी एंटेल्स फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिस्क बिकॉज इट इज ट्रांसलेटिंग लोकल करेंसी इनटू फॉरेन करेंसी. Now, when a company issues DRs, it's actually evading the foreign currency risk in its favor. Now, who faces the foreign exchange risk then? It is the investors who face the foreign exchange risk, right? Investors have to bear the foreign exchange risk in case of DRs, as DRs issuing company will never pay them dividends in the foreign currency. Dividends will always be paid in the denomination of the home currency of the DR issuing company, right? And these dividends are basically paid to the custodian bank, and custodian bank then facilitates or transforms those dividends into a foreign currency and passes on them to the investors that might be living in different countries, overseas countries, right? Am I clear? Now, as an example, just think of an Indian company who has issued DRs to investors in Europe. Now, investors who have invested in these DRs and live in, let's say, Europe, will get dividends by Indian company not in euros but in Indian rupees. Okay, so that's what entails for them the foreign exchange risk, because they have to convert those into Indian rupees into euros probably. So while they convert Indian rupees into euros, they will have to face the fluctuation of the foreign currency, right? Then right, number third is the cross or dual listing feature in DR. This cross and dual listing feature in DR has advantages for both investor as well as issuing company. Finally, DRs are fungible, as was already discussed with you. The DRs have fungibility feature that they can be converted into the equity shares and back, right? Now, this fungibility feature, what does it mean? This fungibility feature can be sometimes two-way also. Earlier we talked about one-way fungibility, in which it's only investor who will be able to transform or convert his DRs into the equity shares of a foreign company, right? But it is also possible that the issuing company can convert its equity shares into DR. So this is a two-way process basically. It can be used both by investor as well as issuing company. Now, to understand fungibility, let's go through an example. Suppose you have a 100 rupee note. You know it very well that a 100 rupee note can be easily exchanged for 250 rupee notes, and vice versa, right? We can do it easily. Gold can be exchanged for rupee because following a certain formula, right? And rupee can be back changed into gold. That is what is fungibility, right? So that's what we call when we change, one denomination currency note into smaller denomination currency notes. That's what we call in common parlance as change. Similarly, investors and issuing companies can also enjoy two-way fungibility in case of DRs. Okay, what does that mean? That means investors can freely convert DRs into underlying foreign company shares, and foreign company that has issued those DRs can convert its equity into DR. So it's a continuous process, right? Only thing is that the company which wants to raise foreign equity with the help of DRs will have to arrange equity shares. Whether those equity shares will be arranged by issuing fresh shares by the company, or else they can be brought or purchased from the secondary market, right? So anytime a company wants to raise more capital or additional capital, it can do so by arranging a certain number of equity shares, either by issuing them fresh. Issuing them fresh is a complicated process. A simple way is that the company buys them from the secondary market from existing investors, and then uses those equity shares for creation of depository receipts in a foreign market, right? On the other side, investors can also use this fungibility option to transform or convert their depository receipts into equity shares by requesting their depository bank. Am I clear? And then having those equity shares sold in the overseas market, and then getting the proceeds from sale of those equity shares in their favor, again through the depository bank, right? Am I clear? So this is how fungibility option actually operates in case of depository receipts. But you must remember or keep it in mind that depository receipts entitle their holders no voting rights, right? Anyway, let's repeat this fungibility idea once again. Let's try to understand how fungibility works once again with the help of this illustration, right? Now let's assume that there is a registered broker in India who, with the permission of the custodian, purchases shares of an Indian company on behalf of a person resident outside India in the recognized stock exchange in India, and deposits the same with the custodian for the purpose of converting the shares into DRs, right? This is one way. Another way is, similarly, the foreign investor that's holding DRs can transfer, sell the DRs in the overseas stock exchange, or request the depositor to cancel the DR and release the underlying shares to his account, and then so that he can sell it in the overseas market, right? On acquiring the shares, the DR holder becomes the member of the company, and he can trade his shares in the Indian stock exchange. So this is how the DR fungibility operates. I repeat it once again. If there is a two-way fungibility in DRs, that means both issuing company as well as investors can convert their investments, or their issuing company doesn't have any investment, it has outstanding DRs in its name. But investors of course have DRs when they invest money into DR, right? Investors have a holding, issuing company have a liability which is outstanding, right? But if there is two-way fungibility, both these parties can use that option to convert their present stats of you know uh, financial instruments back into another stats, into a different stats, right? For example, if it's an investor who has invested his money into DRs and is holding them somewhere in a foreign country, can has the facility of transforming those DRs into the underlying shares, which might be held by a bank in another country, in the country of a DR issuing company, and then those shares can be then sold in the market of that particular company, and the proceeds can be remitted to the investor. Am I clear? On the same lines, issuing company can continuously transform its equity into DR instruments, DR receipts, right? Depository receipts, so that it is able to raise foreign currency equity from the overseas market. Okay, so this is how fungibility operates, right? Once again, let's recapitulate this idea: fungibility fear of DRs. When there is fungibility, DRs can be converted into underlying shares, and underlying shares can be back converted into DRs of the companies which have issued those DRs up to originally issued amount, right? Okay, am I clear? So that's all about